So you might feel sometimes like you've got nothing to paint. We've all been there. But I'm going to show you how to grab some fruit out of the fridge and paint a simple still life. So check it out. The materials you'll need are apples and cherries, preferably different colors like darker apples with yellow cherries or gala apples with red cherries. You'll also need a table or some flat surface. You can add a bowl or basket. Of course, that makes your scene a little bit more complicated. And you'll need some sort of tablecloth on it that's in a neutral color or something complementary. And then you need a light source. So you'll need to put it near a window or illuminate it in some way. Light bulb, lamp, whatever you've got. Natural light is ideal. And then you should take a picture so you have a reference later when the light changes. So make your arrangement on a plate or a basket. You'll have some apples standing and some laying on their side. You might even cut an apple with a slice laying sideways on the plate and then scatter the cherries around. It's nice to make a grouping of threes if possible. You can also have one solitary one out to the distance. So let me show you my setup. So here I used a small plate and I needed a green cloth, but I couldn't find any, so I used a green blanket, but I'm not going to make it look like a blanket. I'm starting out with my typical split primary palette: yellow lemon, cad yellow medium, yellow ochre, cad red medium. Actually, I think that's cad red light, alizarin crimson. And I don't know why I stopped talking here, but the other colors are ultramarine blue, cobalt blue, and viridian. I did a base coat of viridian and yellow on the canvas, and this is a 6x8 canvas, by the way. And I started the outline with yellow ochre and viridian. And you might be thinking at this point, I think that plate's too thick, and you were right. I came back to it later and fixed it. I'm adding the color. I had a mixture of alizarin crimson and the red medium, or red light. And then I used mostly alizarin for the dark cherries, and I used the red light with a little yellow for the lighter cherries. So the plate was white, and you have to simulate white by using a very light blue or a violet, which is what I did. The underneath of the plate was a darker violet. I'm back to a viridian yellow combo for the cloth. And then yellow ochre, a little bit of red iron oxide for the inside of the apple. And this is the portion where I remembered that my plate was too big and tried to fix it. And here I'm trying to make the folds in the cloth, which eventually you will see did not work out, and I did change that. I've always had trouble with folds in cloth when they're laying down. I can kind of get them when they're hanging in a curtain, but it's more difficult this way. I'm darkening the cherries here for the reflections and the highlights on them. That really makes a difference when you add the reflections. Adding shadows on the plate to the right of the fruit and on the slant of the plate to the left. That's coming up, and here's the highlights on the rim of the plate. And of course, tweaking again for the cherries. That's an ongoing thing. Now I put it to real time to show you a little bit more detail in how I'm painting. So here I'm mixing yellow ochre with white and just a hint of Rembrandt's red iron oxide, which I really like. That's such a versatile color. It's great for painting backgrounds and it's great for outlining, and it's a really good accent to any painting you use. I use it on almost every single painting. So I'm still tweaking the cherries, and that'll probably continue till the end. They do need to be a little darker here and there. And now I'm really refining the colors on the flesh of the apples where it was cut. Over time, I think this painting took me a total of about 3 hours. Of course, it was exposed to air and it got darker and darker, which I really felt like it gave it a little bit more character, so I did want to add that to the apple. For this painting, I used the number 4 filbert for the entire painting. Usually I start out with a bigger brush, but in this case, it's so small that the filbert worked out. I never had any point that I wanted to change it. It was good for the details, for the outlining and the shadows and the reflections. Worked out really well. I did use a liner for these little stems because they were really tiny and it was just easier. I hope this video is giving you some ideas about the things that you can come up with to paint when you feel like there's nothing to paint. The setups I showed you at the beginning of the video were just things I pulled out of the refrigerator with some cups and saucers to see what ideas I could come up with. I hope this has been interesting. It's a chance to play around with alizarin crimson for sure, so go check your refrigerator. Have a great day.